What up, friends? How are you doing? So, I never shared this, but I've never said this to anybody, okay? And this is just a conspiracy theory I've always had with Liv's life since she first made her appearance as a reactor on my Strong Mommy Chrissy, when she first came out, okay? For some reason, because you know how she always said, she moved from California and met Gerard or whatever. Okay, hear me out here. For some reason, I always felt like Liv had older children than Robin that were possibly taken away from her because in California, because she grew up there, right? And she pretty much met somebody and got away from there. Okay. One thing about Liv is she's a creature of habit. Okay. And she was not an older mom, like as flourish as she allegedly is, she didn't have babies till later in her late 20s or whatever. Um, like, and she dropped out of school early. Okay. What would be a reason for her to drop out of school? Was it really the bullying, or was it like a pregnancy or something like that? And why was she so conscious about Robin being taken away from her by Gerard? When you have your first kid, you don't know anything about people possibly taking your child away. And, you're naive to all of that stuff unless it's happened to you before. For example, my baby mama, which is my son's birth mother, has six children before my son that were all taken away by the state. And she had older kids. She had all the kids she had with my cousin were taken away. But before she met my cousin, and she was in her late 20s, early 30s when she had this set of kids, but she did have kids as a teen that were taken away as well. Like there was like a big gap between. So anytime I seen Liv, heard her story, it reminds me of my baby mama, my son's birth mother. So, and then also she didn't give Robin Gerard's last name because of fear that he would take her away or whatever. But why was she so cautious like that? You know what I mean? Like if she all she ever did was mother the children, like she always had her kids with her at that time. She wasn't with hanging out with Zolo or anything like that. She was always at home. She always had her kids. She was a great mom at that time, when she was still with Gerard. So why was she so cautious if she was doing what she was supposed to be doing? It's kind of like she was like maybe it happened to her before or something. But that was always my conspiracy theory. She gave me older kids vibes, like how she doesn't go back to California because maybe that's like a memory, like that reminds her of what happened to her. Maybe she had like other kids that were taken away from her or whatever. Because if you look at her pattern here, her kids were taken away from her here, and she moved away and hopped on someone else's sack. You know what I mean? Like she doesn't want to be around Texas because everything's a reminder of that person, Gerard, and the babies. You know what I mean? And that was like a losing battle there. So she has more control of everything in Florida. So that's why she's over there with her next victim. You know what I mean? Like I said, it's not true. This is just the vibes I got from her. Because as flourish, whorish as she is, like she didn't get pregnant first until Robin. You know what I mean? Like she just seems like she'd be latching on to people since she was a teen. You know what I mean? Since she left school. And her body, when she first came onto the scene, or those pictures that she shares of before having supposedly before having the children, looks like You know, she's always had a grown woman's body. You know what I mean? I don't mean that disrespectfully. If you look at my pictures when I didn't become overweight till I was an adult. All of my teen years and high school years, I was skinny. You know what I mean? Until I had a child, I was 20 years old, and my body changed, and I couldn't get it back to that you know? So why did she have like a woman's body like that? Like if she didn't have any kids, you know what I mean? And her sister has kind of, mm, her sister kind of has the same type of, thing going on, but she has kids, you know what I mean? I don't know. She just gave me like I've had kids before vibes. So that was always my conspiracy theory with her. Um, and she talks about Gerard like he did the unthinkable. Like if he knew that was like the biggest betrayal she had before, and he knew about it. He knew about her secret, and maybe possibly if you've had children taken away before, it's quicker to remove them the next time around because when I had my son had to my baby mother had to lose custody of her son, which is my son. Then he becomes a ward of the state and then he can be adopted. Okay. So when you've had children taken away before, you have it's easier to be taken away. Like they'll say, "Oh, well, she's already had this many kids taken away." It's easier to take a child away like that. You know what I mean? Because it took through CPS, somebody who's had other children taken away, it took me still 2.5 years for her to lose custody. 2 years actually. It was 2 years for her to lose her rights as a mother. Is what I mean. Then I was able to start the process of adoption. So even though she was this and that and this and that, like they still gave her, she still had rights those whole 2 years. You know what I mean? But for him to have like full custody and she's just kind of like leaving him like that, it doesn't look good if she ever wants to regain custody of them because she's still their parent. But how long is she going to be MIA? You know what I mean? Like she's so far away from them and it's like she doesn't even want to bother with them in my opinion. So, but it's like a control thing. Like if she doesn't have control of it, she don't want it, and she's gonna blame Gerard for it always. She's always gonna say, "Well, they don't answer the phone, or they don't do this, or they don't do that," when it was the actions that she took within that summer of love with Zolo bands that ruined possibly, or maybe possibly, history of losing children before. I don't know. I'm just saying. She just gave me those vibes, and I don't know. And I doubt it's true, but that was my conspiracy theory. Because why was she so sprung and hooked on Gerard like that? Like she needed a place to stay. Like she clung on to him, and it seems like she never even really liked him like that. You know what I mean? Like she just had him around just to make money. Because, sometimes people do that. They'll hang around, but they don't really feel you like that, but they just want your money type of situation. That's kind of what she was giving me there. But anyways, whatever you do in life, okay, I'm not here to judge, but if you don't care for somebody, you don't like somebody, just leave them alone, because that's like the worst thing you can do. The worst thing you can do is to string somebody along and you don't even feel nothing for them. You know what I mean? There are people like that, trust me. It's happened to me. People just string you along and it's like, you know, they're just fucking with you. You know what I mean? Happens to the best of us, okay? All right. Well, I gotta go to work, so I'll talk to you later. Bye bye.